Would you mind checking out this English lesson? Maybe you could try using some of the phrases here in your own conversations this week. Do you think you could even tell a friend about this podcast? That would be great.
Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right, thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. It's Michael here from Happy English, and I help people speak English better. And this is Happy English Podcast, episode 874, American Politeness, Indirect Ways to Say Things. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome back to the Happy English Podcast. Let me start with this. Imagine you're in the office and you say to your coworker, close the window? Yeah, it's clear, it's correct, but it sounds a little bossy, doesn't it? So then you could include the magic word, right? And no, the magic word is not abracadabra. It's please. When I was a kid, I asked my mom, can I have a cookie? And she would reply with, what's the magic word? And then I would ask, can I have a cookie, please? Wow, that was a blast from the past. So, getting back to the close the window scene, you could ask your coworker like this, close the window, please. Using please makes your request polite, but it's still too direct. Now, of course, Americans can be direct, but in everyday conversation, we often like to soften our requests. We make them indirect. It feels more polite, more friendly, and honestly, it just sounds more natural. So, today I want to show you some of these indirect phrases that we use all the time. Trust me, when you start using these, people are going to think, wow, your English sounds really natural. No magic needed. The first one is, would you mind? This one is super common. So instead of saying, turn off the TV, you can say, would you mind turning off the TV? It's polite, it's casual, and it works everywhere. At home, at work, even in a restaurant. Would you mind bringing us some extra napkins? Or at the office, you can ask would you mind looking over this meeting agenda I put together? Just remember that the structure is would you mind followed by a gerund. Would you mind helping me? Would you mind closing the window? Like that. Now, a lot of English learners get stuck when it comes to answering a would you mind question. The tricky part is that if you just answer with yes or no, it's not even really clear what you mean. If I said, would you mind turning off the TV? And you just said no. Does that mean no, I won't do it? Or no, I don't mind? That's even confusing for native speakers. So the best way to answer, would you mind, is to not use just one word. Explain yourself. So instead say something like, sure, I can do that, or of course, or no problem. And if you can't do it, you can soften your no by saying, sorry, I can't right now, or I'd love to, but I'm in the middle of something. That way, your answer is always clear and always polite. Next up is, do you think you could? Let's say your friend has a car, but you don't. You could say, can you pick me up at the station, please? But even with can and please, it's too direct. So this works better. Do you think you could pick me up at the station? Now it sounds like a friendly request instead of an order. And if you happen to have a roommate who is way too into Metallica, you can try asking them, hey, Do you think you could turn the music down a bit? I'm trying to study for my exam. How about you? Do you think you can try that and let me know how it goes? Next up is, I was wondering if. This one's a little softer, and I like to use it in emails too. Like, I was wondering if you had a few minutes to talk tomorrow. Or, I was wondering if you could join us for dinner on Saturday. It's a nice way to ask because it doesn't pressure the other person. I was wondering if is really indirect, and it has kind of a humble nuance. So the next time you're at a restaurant, you can try asking the server, I was wondering if you could bring us the dessert menu? It's a very natural and indirect way to ask. And you'll notice that in all of these phrases, we use could instead of can and would. Would and could are used in conditional sentences to talk about hypothetical or unreal situations. If I had $1 million, I could buy a yacht. Well, that's why we use would and could to make these polite and indirect requests. It's like you're framing your request in an imaginary way. Like, I was wondering if you could help me with my homework. The if part of that is implied. I was wondering if you could help me with my homework if you have some free time. That's where this kind of language comes from. The last part for today is how to indirectly make a suggestion. We use maybe you could and perhaps you could. Like, if your coworker is having technology issues, you can say, maybe you could try restarting your computer. Or if a friend is having relationship trouble, you can suggest like this. Perhaps you could call her instead of texting her. See? It's not too pushy. It just leaves space for the other person. So, why do we do this? Well, in American culture, being too direct can sometimes sound a little rude or unfriendly. These softer phrases show respect. They make your English sound warm and polite. And here's your challenge. Think about something you need to ask someone this week. Instead of being direct, try using one of these indirect phrases like, would you mind? Do you think you could? I was wondering if you could give it a try and see how people respond. And there you have it. A few ways to sound more polite and more natural when you speak English, just by speaking indirectly. Try using one or two of these today. Your friends and coworkers will definitely notice the difference, and you'll feel better about how you communicate in English. And hey, if you want to practice these with me and a group of other awesome learners, come check out my podcast Learners Study Group. We meet once a week and practice the language from these podcast lessons together. It's a great way to build confidence and improve your speaking. Just click the link below where you're listening to this podcast or visit myhappyenglish.com and choose podcast episode 874 for more info. And remember, learning another language is not easy, but it's not impossible. And I'm here to help you on your journey.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.